Hello everybody, in this video we're looking at King and Pawn Endgames, and more specifically, King and one pawn versus King, okay? So, there's really, usually an extra pawn is enough to win the game, but not always, especially if it's the only pawn left, okay? Usually you want to bring your king ahead, so we'll show you here how to attack and to defend in these King and Pawn Endgames. So, black to move here. Black can actually draw this position by using, there's 3 rules, okay? Number 1 is block the pawn whenever you can. So, if it was like this, black would block the pawn, okay? But in this position, black cannot block the pawn. Rule 2, if you cannot block the pawn, go opposite the other king, okay? So opposite the other king simply means like that. One square between them, they're opposite each other, okay? I'm sure you've probably heard a lot about opposition, and this is really what it is you want the opposition whenever you can, okay? So you take the opposition, and if you must retreat, go straight back on the same file as the pawn. So if it was like black to move, like, say he was in check here, or something, he would go straight back on the same file as the pawn, and then bring us to this position here, okay? So black takes the opposition here. He checks, okay? The king can block the pawn. Rule number 1, so he blocks the pawn. Okay, king goes to e4. Okay, look at this. Black king has to retreat, so he goes straight back on the same file as the pawn. That's rule 3. Okay, now, the king comes to d5. Okay, so what's rule number 2? If you cannot block the pawn, go opposite the other king. There we go. e6 check. Block the pawn. That's rule 1. Okay? King e5. King e8. See? Straight back again on the same file as the pawn. That's rule 3. It's really simple. King d6. Okay? King d8. Rule 2. Take the opposition, okay? e7 check, king e8, block the pawn, okay? And now, the pawn's attacked. White's only move to defend the pawn is king e6, but now, white is stalemated, and it's a draw. So that's how to draw down a pawn in chess in the endgame, okay? I'll show you another way here. If the pawn, okay, is on the H file or the A file, there's another way to draw. Okay, so we can see here, the pawn is on the H file. It would be the same thing if the pawn was on the A file. There is another way to draw here, okay? And that's simply by stopping the king from getting to G7, and then you getting yourself to G8. Black to move, the king wants to get to G7. The only move to stop him is doing that, okay? The king goes to H7, okay? You have to come back to F7, and if he tries to move the king in, just keep the king away from this crucial square on G7, H6, okay? King G7, king F7. If the king goes to H8, okay, you can go back to F8. The pawn comes into here, back to F7, and now it's a draw because the white king is actually stalemated. The one other way is if the pawn's back here and you're here, all you have to do is put your king on H8 if you can get there first, and then no matter what, see, white matches the king up the board, they can't do anything. If you just move back and forth, so say you have to move there, if they try the king pawn check, you go here, they go there to defend the pawn, stalemate. Pretty simple, right? Okay? So remember in the first one, when we're in the middle of the board, the rules are simple. Number 1 is block the pawn whenever you can. So you would block the pawn here. Number 2, if you cannot block the pawn, okay, so you can't block the pawn here, go opposite the other king. And number 3, if you have to retreat, like this, go opposite the pawn. Pretty simple 5-minute video, and now you basically know everything you need to know about King and Pawn Endgames. So, if you are to move, the one thing you need to know is if you're on attack, stop black from doing what they want to do. So say you were in this position here, like this, okay? If you moved something like king here, okay, then black would take the opposition. So the way for you to win is actually for you to take the opposition, okay? And then don't do, and then try to get him to like retreat or something.